Hey friends, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, and everything in between. Hope you're all doing awesome today, and as usual, let's get right into today's Reddit posts. What are you going to do about it? Call the cops? I was a senior in high school when all of a sudden I got sick at school and had to be sent home. Because my car was in the shop, Mom had to come get me. It's about 9:30 a.m. when this happened. As we're driving up a very busy street, we see two 7 to 8-year-old kids, we'll call them Frank and Zelda, trying to cross. Worried, Mom pulls over to see what's going on. The conversation went roughly as follows. Mom says, "Kids, are you guys okay? What are you two doing here?" And Frank says, "Dr. Idiot said we couldn't come to school early, so he sent us home." Now, Mom is very familiar with Dr. Idiot. He was the principal at the elementary school my younger brother was attending at the time. My brother, Mark, was going through some behavioral issues at the time, and my mom was commonly called to the office, to the point where they were on a first-name basis. Not that he allowed her to use his first name because, quote, "I have a doctorate in education, so it's Dr. Idiot." So in other words, he was an entitled idiot. There was a gas station 10 feet away, so Mom tells Frank and Zelda to meet us there. We pulled in, got some water for the kids as it was a hot day, and Mom calls Dr. Idiot's cell phone. Again, the conversation went roughly as follows. "This is Dr. Idiot. Hi, this is Mark's mom. I have two kids here named Frank and Zelda, and they said they were sent home early?" Yes, their parents dropped them off at 6 a.m. because they had to work. Something about mandatory overtime. Of course, we're not a daycare, so I just told the kids to go home and wait for the bus. Are you kidding me? We're 5 miles away from the school. They walked all that way. It's a wonder they weren't hit by a car or kidnapped. Idiot says, "What are you gonna do about it? Call the cops?" Click. Mom was absolutely floored, but she decided to give Dr. Idiot a nice dose of reality. At the time, we lived in a small town. How small? So small that sometimes the chief of police would have to walk the beat. And that day, he happened to be a block or so away from the gas station. When he got the call, he arrived, got the whole story from not only Frank and Zelda, but from Mom and me. And being a father of two elementary-age kids himself, he was pissed. He looked at Mom and said, "It's time I had some words with Dr. Idiot." The chief of police drove Frank and Zelda to the school in the squad car, which they were super excited about, personally escorted them to their class, and then marched to Dr. Idiot's office and proceeded to tear him a new butthole, telling Dr. Idiot that he'd help the parents press charges on him for child endangerment, among other things. From that day on, Dr. Idiot allowed Frank and Zelda to be at the school early, on the days their parents had mandatory overtime. Update. So I got some details from Mom about why Frank and Zelda were just dropped off at school. Their aunt works at the elementary school and had agreed to watch them until school started a couple of hours later. She wasn't on the clock. Frank and Zelda didn't live in a good part of town, and their parents understandably didn't feel their kids would be safe if they were alone. If Dr. Idiot had driven them home to wait for the bus, it wouldn't have gotten on the chief of police's nerves. The situation could have been easily figured out by Dr. Idiot if he actually just bothered to do anything about it. Because if he actually listened to the kids, he would have known that their aunt, who works at the school, was there to take care of them. Or maybe he did know but didn't allow it. But instead, he just sends them on their way out of the school, no trying to call the parents or get a ride set up for them, or even notifying anyone about it at all. Just go on, get out of here, kids, go fend for yourself. Have fun walking miles home in a sketchy part of town, but also be sure to be back here in 2 hours when school actually starts. There is so much that could go wrong in a situation like this, and he would be responsible if anything did happen. Entitled mother tries to put son on dangerous horse, then gets the embarrassment she deserves. I'm only 15, but I volunteer at a horse riding school. I help with kids' lessons and look after the horses and stuff. We have this one horse who I'll call Dangerous Horse. He is one of our tall horses, around 17 hands high or 6 feet. He's not suitable to be ridden by children and can be dangerous by bolting or throwing people off. Entitled mother and her kid came to the stables on one of our open days we hold on school holidays. Basically, kids come along and get to ride a little bit, have a tour of the stables, and give the horses treats and stuff like that. The kid immediately ran over to the Dangerous Horse, who was in a place that the kid wasn't meant to be. He started shouting that he wanted to ride this one, which spooked the Dangerous Horse and other horses. I nearly got stood on as I was in the box with the dangerous horse at the time, so I told the kid to keep his voice down because it scares the horses. I want to ride this one. I'm sorry, but he can't be ridden by children. He's very dangerous. He doesn't look very dangerous. The kid goes to pet the horse, but the horse panicked and spun around away from the kid. Why doesn't he want to play? I just want to pet him. You have to be respectful of all the horses. If they don't want to play, then they won't. He's scared at the moment. The kid then lets out a blood-curdling scream. Mom! Entitled mom then appears around the corner and comes marching up to her kid. What is going on here, kid? She won't let me pet the horse, said the kid. So I say, listen, he's very Entitled mom cuts me off. If my son wants to pet the horse, I don't see any problem with it, so let him. The horse doesn't want to be petted, your son scared him. What are you on about? My son is gentle and not scary to a big animal like this. Go pet him, kid. As the kid goes to pet him one last time, the horse swings his head up, hitting the kid on the chin. Not very hard though. The kid and mom leave to go for their riding lesson, with the kid crying. Later on, I hear some commotion out front by where the lessons are. I go around to see what's going on because, well, I'm curious. When I get around the corner, I see entitled mom and kid having an argument with the riding instructor about which horse they want to ride. The kids got to choose from around 5 ponies on which one they wanted to ride. The stupid kid didn't want a pony and demanded that he rode the dangerous horse. Entitled mom then argued with the riding instructor about this for around 5 minutes, until picking up her son who was now crying and taking him in my direction. She stormed past me and up to the dangerous horse's stable. She tried to open the door, but we have these tricky locks on them, so horses can't open them, which meant she couldn't either. She then demanded that I open the door and get the horse out for her son to ride. Why are you standing there? Help me get this stupid animal out of here for my son, said the mom. You can't do that. He's not part of the pony rides, I told her. He is now. Hurry up, I haven't got all day. You're not allowed. Get him out now, my son wants to ride him. The riding instructor appears around the corner with the dangerous horse's saddle and bridle. She tells me to tack him up quickly for a ride. The kid then got all excited and entitled mom had a smirk on her face, assuming she meant him. I tacked the horse up and took him out of his box. He was 3 times the height of the kid. I knew the riding instructor wouldn't actually let the kid on the horse, but it was amusing watching the kid's excitement. Is that wrong? Entitled mom asks, okay, where do you get on? And the riding instructor says, we usually get on just around the corner, but you're going to get on here. She said that looking at me, so I knew what to do. She then handed me my helmet. Why are you giving that to her? My son is the one riding, said the mom. I want to ride the pony, it's my turn, said the kid. You're too small for the horse, and he's dangerous, said the riding instructor. She then helps me get on and I ride into the arena with the dangerous horse. I was the only one in there at the time, but the kid followed me, whining, being stopped at the gate by the riding instructor. Remember when I said the dangerous horse liked to throw people and bolt? I meant it. As soon as we were in the arena, the horse bolted and started bucking. It looked like we were in a rodeo or something, and he did it for a couple minutes. When he had stopped, I looked over to entitled mom, who had the most amusing look of shock on her face. It was brilliant. Why were you going to put my son on that dangerous animal? He would have died, said the mom. She then grabbed her kid and left. It's safe to say that I don't think she'll be bothering us for a while. You can't park there. Okay, you can, but it will cost you. My parents had this problem with the guy parking a tractor trailer on their land. He lives right across from one of their pecan groves. The grove has well-spaced trees all in neat rows. The grass is mowed super short and the ground is really flat. It looks like an ideal place to pull your rig if you don't know better. The ground is so flat because they use mechanical harvesting. Bumps and grooves can cause the machines to leave pecans laying on the ground. A 2-inch deep groove from a big truck like that can hold thousands of dollars of pecans, and will until it is fixed. Oh, and you have to get them up by hand. It's a big deal when someone screws with your livelihood like that. So the guy parks there one time. They get it. He probably doesn't understand he is causing so much trouble. Dad goes down and explains the damage he has done, tells him the grove is private property and not to do it again. The dude, we'll call him Dude, agrees and apologizes. Dad goes home and fixes the damage mid-week. Next Friday, there is the truck again, same spot. Dad, not about to put up with this, calls the sheriff department. Cop comes, truck moves. Dad fixes the damage mid-week. Next week, no truck. 1 week later, truck is back. Repeat complaint for trespassing to sheriff. Dude claims he forgot. He drives over the road and his Home Depot where his car is parked is 30 miles away. It is convenient for dude to forget because he saves his gas and time by driving his employer's rig and parking it on my parents' land. Also, he doesn't get nailed if his cab isn't clean. No other drivers get assigned his truck. There are plain motivations. Dude clearly does not forget every time he is home, but this is what he claims to the deputies sent out on the complaints. After 7 times the sheriff department is called, he finally gets a trespassing citation. No fine is levied. Drives his car 2 weeks in a row. Following week, truck is back. At this point, my dad has fixed this damage so often, he is keeping a tractor and blade on the property so it gets done faster and easier. Calls the sheriff yet again. The sheriff himself comes out this time. Truck leaves. Sheriff comes to see my dad. Says the enforcement problem is that it is hard to explain to a court the harm, when pictures hardly show any damage and dude always apologizes and moves the truck when the deputies come. Says getting dude for trespassing under those circumstances is going to be tough, but he is on this and will see it through for my parents. But his office is 30 miles away, not that many deputies to be out patrolling, etc. And then the sheriff, bless his little elected heart, says, but if there were something different, like a theft of services going on. The next day, signs go up on 80 trees in a row, 8,000 feet, they are 100 feet apart. Quote, semi-parking, $500 an hour, prepay, violators will be towed. Dude doesn't pay the signs any mind. Dude does, however, pay the tow truck and deputy quite a bit of mind. Comes running and screaming, waving his arms as they're hooking up. Well, before my dad called to have him towed, everything was documented, including having the sheriff himself drive by and take several pictures of the truck parked with the clearly visible signs. Everything is put on hold while dude's employer, who owns the truck, drives out. After 3 hours, dude's boss gives up and writes a check for $7,800 to cover parking and tow truck fees. That actually covered the tow truck, all the repairs, printing the signs, and beer for about a year for my dad's Tuesday poker gathering. Dude, who still lives there, does not park in the pecan grove. His boss payroll deducted his checks for 2 years. And that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So have an awesome day, take care, and I'll see you next time.